Welcome to this weekend's qualification report for Arlington Supercross. This is where I give you a 10-minute or so summary of today's 3-hour-long qualifying session. Now, before I get into today's video, issue number 7 of my magazine is finally here. I'm shipping out all the orders that I have so far today. Got a big pile right here. If you aren't a MagPass subscriber and you want to become one, or you want to order just a single copy of my magazine, head to the mxnetwork.com. Links in the description. Go snag a copy. Huge thanks to all of you who already have. I spend a lot of time working on these magazines, and it means a lot to me that all of you guys are buying copies. Let's get into some quick pre-qualifying info. Cooper Webb had a rough race 2 weekends ago in Glendale. I believe it was 7th place he finished. Obviously not good for him. He claimed he just wasn't comfortable, but he finished on par with his average in that stadium over the years. He then went on to say that he's feeling good and that he will win tonight. He said that, his exact words, that he will win tonight. Obviously, as you can see in this video, his finishes today didn't really show that, but hey, maybe he'll do better in the race tonight anyway. Chase Sexton also commented on his hand injury. We all know that he had, I think it was a bruised bone on the upper part of his hand. That really pulled him down in Glendale, but here's what he had to say about it so far, or how he's feeling so far this weekend today. Here's that quick clip.
I would say it's 80%. It's not 100% like I was hoping for, but it's just a bone bruise right on the top of my hand, and pulling the clutch in and all that is like what is really painful. And honestly, the turning is what is kind of getting me. It's not really the jumps or anything. It's more turning and getting my hand on an angle, which is the hardest part. But definitely a lot better than where I was at in Phoenix. I was able to ride twice this week, so that's better than nothing. And now we have press day, and then tomorrow obviously racing. So I'm excited. It's getting stronger. It's past kind of like that weak part. It's more just a little bit of pain now. So yeah, we'll see what we got tomorrow. I think, like I said, I'm pretty confident what I can still do, even with a little bit of an injured hand. So it's not going to hold me back, and look forward to getting back closer to the front tomorrow. That's
good to hear. Glad he's feeling better. Now let's look at another guy who was injured, Hayden Deegan. He commented on his wrist injury, saying that it's feeling better, but if it was the average person, they wouldn't be racing out there, so it's obviously still hurting. But here's what he had to say himself.
Yeah, if you were coming at this as a normal human, you wouldn't really be riding. But, I mean, I'm not. You know, I got to try and come out here and win Supercross races, and I'll say Detroit didn't go as planned. Obviously, get taken out on the start. We salvaged some points, which is good. So, yeah, now we're just coming into, where are we, Arlington. And it's time to fight. You know, we're going to fight, and we're going to put our heart into it.
All right, let's look at 450 qualifying session number 1. P1, Justin Cooper came out on top with a 45.158 second lap time. Incredible riding from the 450 class rookie today. He looks extremely comfortable on the bike, especially compared to others who are struggling in this session due to the severity of the track, the roughness that came about really quick, huge lines, huge ruts. Not only was Jay Coop looking faster and more comfortable than the rest, but he also nailed down a jump line through the whoop section whilst others were struggling to blitz them. I believe he was one of, or the only rider jumping at this point throughout the qualifying session. But yeah, Jay Coop looking incredible. On to P2, his teammate Eli Tomac with a 45.611. ET3 was looking pretty good out there. He rode much of the same lines as his teammate, but I really think blitzing the whoops is what separated the two. Other than that, other than Jay Coop jumping the whoops and Eli blitzing, not much separated them. I put both their lap times next to each other to see, or both their fast laps to see what the difference was. I think they're doing the exact same lines, so Eli is going to have to do those tonight if he wants to be his fastest. In P3, we have Chase Sexton, 45.939. Sexton looked pretty good the entire section, scoping out new lines, trying to follow guys who were beating him. At about halfway through the session, he sat 10th place, but he began jumping the whoops as well and quickly rose to 3rd place. So again, the whoops are going to be a game changer tonight. Overall, a good ride from Chase, especially with the bruised hand situation. Another rough section on the track was the sand section. Jet Lawrence had a crash there today. It's getting pretty rough, and there were a couple of crashes already at this point in the race, but I figured I'd show you. It's very whooped out very early in the night, so I'm expecting this to be a passing spot or a crashing spot in the main event. But yeah, here's Jet Lawrence's crash in the first qualifying session. All right, let's look at the rest of the results. 4th place, Jason Anderson. I think he's the predicted winner of tonight's race. A lot of guys are rooting for him. He hasn't won a race yet this year. Hopefully he wins. That'll make the field even deeper, the points battle even closer, so that'd be cool to see. 5th place, Jet Lawrence, even with that small crash he had there. 6th place, Malcolm Stewart. I believe that's one of his best finishes so far this year. He's been struggling. Hunter Lawrence with a 7th. Justin Hill with 8th. Pretty incredible. I believe he's the only privateer in the top 10. Then Aaron Plessinger and Ken Roxon rounding out the top 10. All right, on to 250 class qualifying session 1. P1 Cameron McAdoo, 46.891. McAdoo was doing a very good job at keeping his bike low. I'm sure you'll see the difference between him and the other two guys in the footage I have on screen. Other than keeping it lower than most others in the rhythm sections, the only difference between him and the rest was actually blitzing the whoops while everyone else was jumping. So this is the opposite of the 450 class. The whoops got really bad in this session, and McAdoo decided to keep blitzing them on the far right of the track, I believe it was, and the rest of them were making jumps or jumping through it as like a rhythm section. But yeah, hey, if it works, I mean, he seemed to be going faster than the rest. Obviously, he got P1, so if it works, stick with it. P2, Austin Forkner, the points leader, 46.921. Forkner actually had me biting my nails, sitting on the edge of my seat for a lot of this session. He looked like he was riding over his head to me, over jumping, casing jumps, losing control a bit. His arms kind of looked loose, head hitting the handlebars. He just looked pretty rough out there. You can see it on screen right now, I'm sure, but hey, he kept it on 2 wheels and threw down some fast lap times. I really hope he doesn't crack under the pressure tonight. I mean, come on, Forkner. We're all rooting for your safety and success, so keep it on 2 wheels. P3, Max Anstie, 46.931. Anstie remained very consistent tonight, remaining very consistent. I have nothing to say special about him, as Race Day Live ignored him. Even when he was sitting on top, he was sitting in first place at one point. So congrats to Max Anstie, and again, Race Day Live, come on, you got to focus on other people. But here's what the rest of the results looked like. 4th place, Pierce Brown. He's been looking fast so far this year. Hopefully he can stay on 2 wheels this weekend and show where he actually can finish. Tom Vial, 5th place. Jalik Swoll, 6th place. Benek and Deegan, 7th, 8th. Hammaker, 9th. Guillaume Frez, 10th. All right, on to the overalls. Start with 450 class. Jet Lawrence rose from 5th place in Q1 to 1st overall. He was the only guy to get down to the 43 seconds a lap time for a lap time area. Nothing to say about his fast lap, as Race Day Live didn't show it, but hey, statistically speaking, if Jet qualifies first, he's likely to win. That's what he's done in previous races, so he'd probably be a good option for Fantasy Supercross if you're doing that. Here's his speech after finishing first.
Between those other breaks, so it's good to kind of feel back at home just on that AZ kind of setting. So, excited to go racing. The track's going to get pretty broken down, and it's very tricky. It looks tacky, but it's very slick underneath. So it's going to be exciting racing tonight, and hopefully we just get a good start and go from there.
All right, the number 18 of Jet Lawrence back on top.
I also wanted to mention a couple non-A-class riders made it in the top 10 due to a fresh track. Mitchell Oldenburg, who actually held 1st overall after his session, he finished 9th, and Justin Hill making it into 10th overall. He was actually in 8th after the first session, so Hill impressive today, and obviously Oldenburg doing great, but I consider Hill doing better as he was already in the top 10 after a rough track. But yeah, Ken Roxon rose a couple spots after this session. He's in 8th now. Chase Sexton finished an impressive 2nd place overall. Considering his injury and his off race in Glendale with that, P2 I think is pretty awesome. Hopefully that can translate into the main, stick in the points battle. Other than that, not much change. We got Jay Coop falling down to 3rd, Tomac 4th, Anderson 5th, Lawrence 6th, Stewart 7th, and you know the rest. On to the 250 class for the overall. Cameron McAdoo took a spill in the sand section early in this session, again proving that this small section is going to play a big part in the main tonight. He did get up and he's fine, but here's that clip up on screen. Now here's a quick clip I wanted to point out. Hayden Deegan had an incredible, innovative line in this session. Most guys were either blitzing the whoops or doubling, tripling through, etc. He actually, instead of tripling in or doubling over whatever I think it was triple, into the whoops and then jumping through or blitzing, he actually quadded into the first whoop. Not only did he quad into it, he quadded, tripled, and doubled out. So that's a really, really fast line, and he actually made it look really smooth, so that could be a solid line for the main event tonight. Unfortunately, his overall finish doesn't show how fast that actually was, do justice for what that was, but anyway, I think that's a good line. On to our first place finisher, Seth Hammaker. He ended up coming out on top. He wasn't doing anything different from his teammate Forkner. He just had more flow, and as you can see in this clip, he carried a lot of speed in the 2 vital spots in the track, the whoops and the sand section. So truly incredible bounce back from this kid today. He went from 9th in the first session to 1st overall, which is insane. So good luck to Hammaker tonight. Here was his speech after finishing 1st.
Yeah, not the way we want to start the season in Detroit, but you know, that's racing, stuff happens, and
put it behind us. Now we're here in Dallas. Good practice session for us there. P1 going into the night, and track's gonna be challenging tonight. A lot of laps, and looking forward to just getting it done, having a better result than Detroit, and being consistent.
All right, looking at the rest of the overall, not too much more change. The last big one was Honda HRC rider Chance Hymas rising into the top 10 with a 5th place finish. At one point, he was up to 3rd in the session. Unfortunately, he couldn't hold that, but hey, 5th place is certainly not a bad place to start the day, especially when you weren't even in the top 10 when we began. So congrats to Hymas. Let's see what he can do tonight. One final big change, which kind of sucked, was McAdoo dropping from 1st to 6th. I'm not sure what happened in this session. Maybe the sand getting all over his grips and handlebars and gloves affected that, but yeah, that was rough for him. Other than that, we got Deegan in 7th, remaining consistent. Vial dropped to 8th. Jalik dropped to 9th, and Ferez remained in 10th. Well, that's all I got for qualifying report today. What do you guys think? Who will come out on top? Can Jett extend his points lead? Maybe Eli or Anderson will get their first win of the season. What about the 250 class? Can Hammaker beat his teammate Forkner? Maybe Max Anstey can live up to the hype and get his 2nd career 250 class win. Let me know your thoughts and who you're rooting for in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in next week's qualifying report.